nearly 6 months after we first reported the story that the former president had improperly taken boxes of presidential records and classified information to Mar-a-Lago, we found out that the FBI had executed a search warrant of his Mar-a-Lago Club and searched his safe and looked for activity related to the investigation that had been opened up by the Department of Justice into the potential mishandling of classified documents. The big question that we are sniffing around on today and have yet to answer is what exactly they are looking for from the former president. What documents were they? Were they classified documents, or were they documents that might have been presidential records?
If this is actually related to Donald Trump's having taken documents with him when he left the White House, there obviously are standards that apply to government officials in terms of the maintenance of records, the maintenance of documents under the National Records Act. It is not the case that Donald Trump, simply because he was president and occupied the White House, gets to take with him whatever he wants in terms of his papers and notes. Those are public documents because he was a public official, and there are rules governing what he can and cannot take. He felt as though he was being targeted politically by the investigation and by the search. He accused this of being a function of radical left Democrats. He suggested that it marked the politicization of the Justice Department. He complained about the extent of the investigation and what the FBI agents had looked at. He is immediately moving into a posture of this being about politics instead of it being about what he may or may not have done.
There are already signs of potential criminal activity, because in order for a search warrant like this to be executed as part of a long-running investigation by the Department of Justice into a former president's residence, the bar needs to be pretty high, and they need to have probably obtained some significant evidence to support executing that search warrant. It's also significant because of just the volume of what we know that the former president took with him. There were 15 boxes that have already been recovered, but there have been countless other documents that we've previously reported on that were also improperly handled.
The Justice Department has very tightly bounded regulations about where and when to execute search warrants in general. It is obviously the case that everyone in the Justice Department would be aware that this was an unusual move and a very politically fraught one. We saw exactly what I think a lot of people who've been tracking this for a long time were concerned about, that this would not be treated as a continuation of a valid investigation by federal law enforcement, but instead as immediately something that was submerged into the political wars.
The Democrats are weaponizing the FBI, and it has to stop.
Donald Trump would much rather have people believe that these are politically motivated than that the FBI actually has cause to investigate him. And he has been very effective at conveying that message to his base.
There are 6 very different investigations that are taking place at the moment into various potential criminal activity from the former president. All of them are now slowly winnowing and getting closer and closer to the former president, regardless of how much legitimate information and process the FBI and the Department of Justice have followed. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who has already started ramping up talk of what investigations the House Republicans are going to pursue if they do take back the majority in November, which by all accounts they're looking poised to do.